You finally woke up feeling good. You had energy, you felt motivated, you felt like yourself, maybe for the first time in a while. And your brain immediately said, okay, we have to make the most of this. So you pushed yourself. You worked through your to-do list and you got things done. And it felt amazing. And then a day or two later, you were completely just out of it, struggling to get the basics done, wondering how did you end up here again, and feeling like somehow you did this to yourself. That cycle has a name, it has an explanation, and there is a way through it that doesn't require more willpower or a better routine. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Chronic Illness Moms. If you're more than just a tired mom, I'm talking trying to make it through the day without crashing by noon while raising neurodivergent kids, you're not alone. I'm Ashley, a wife, mom, and certified health coach. I have lived with autoimmune disease and flare-ups that made everyday life feel harder than it should. After years of pushing through and burning out, I learned how much stress, poor sleep, and nervous system overload were driving my symptoms. Everything changed when I started building small, realistic habits that actually supported my body instead of fighting it. In this podcast, you'll learn simple habits that help you to feel better. So pop in your earbuds and take a break from the chaos. It's you time.
Friend, I want to personally invite you to book a Feel Better coaching call with me. It is 1 hour, and we will do a lifestyle audit together. I will ask where you are, what your body has been doing, and what feels the most stuck. And then we will walk out a prioritized action plan built specifically around your schedule, your symptoms, and your capacity as a mom. You're going to get a written summary of the plan emailed to you after the call and 2 follow-up check-ins so you are not left on your own trying to figure out your next step. If you want to learn more, if you're ready to stop guessing and get one clear path forward, then go to ashleybraden.com/coaching. Okay, let's talk about what we do on those good days. I want to tell you about a pattern that I lived in for longer than I really wanted to admit. I would have a stretch of really hard days. So fatigue, brain fog, just kind of getting through the day, making it by, that type of feeling. And then finally, one morning, I would wake up and I would feel really good. Like good. Energy, motivation. I felt like myself again. And the first thing that my brain did was to pull up the to-do list. Because in my mind, this was a window of time. It was the time to get ahead, to knock out everything that had been piling up while I was feeling so bad. So what would I do? I would push myself. And I had this huge list, and my goal was to get as much of it done as I possibly could. And, it felt really good to accomplish so much. I've said before, I'm a very task-oriented person. So being able to check those things off of my to-do list felt really good. There's this feeling of accomplishment and relief. Like, okay, I finally got ahead of these things, and I used this good day where I felt good. I used that time well. I felt like I was managing my time well. Except what happened next was that I crashed. And often it wasn't just for an evening. I would crash for a couple of days, sometimes even a week, just barely getting the basics done, feeling worse than I had before that good day happened. And I finally realized that really changing how I approached my good days was the key. So pushing myself to get everything done while I could was not actually saving me time or effort later on. It was just guaranteeing that I was going to crash. I was not getting ahead. I was setting myself up to go further behind than I would have been if I had just done a little bit less and not pushed my body so hard. So you probably have heard of it before, and I talk about it frequently, and it really is just the push-crash cycle. If it sounds familiar, then I just want you to understand what is actually happening in your body when you do this, because a lot of times we feel like it's us, like it's a willpower problem or it's our fault for some reason. So let's talk about what the push-crash cycle actually is. So it's this pattern where we have this window of feeling better, which means that we then lead to overdoing it, pushing our bodies too hard, which then triggers the crash. That is longer, often more difficult than the original bad stretch that we were feeling. So that original time where we felt bad and so we got behind, a lot of times we end up feeling even worse after that. Again, it is not laziness on the bad days. It is not you being dramatic on the days when you're crashing. It is a very real physiological pattern. So when you are managing chronic illness, a good day does not mean that your system has fully recovered and everything is good. It just means that your body found this temporary window of feeling better, of being stable. And when you treat that window kind of like a green light to push yourself as hard as possible, you end up spending more energy than your body had available. And then your body has to compensate. And the way that it often does that is it looks like you crashing. So what can we do instead? Start paying attention first and foremost on those times when you push yourself. Start paying attention to whether or not that crash or those crashed periods consistently follow days where you pushed yourself. Or maybe if, like me, I would even experience maybe a couple of days where I was feeling really good and I would push myself. But start noticing the pattern. So again, not this hard day after hard day, but a crash that comes consistently after a good day where you pushed yourself too hard. If you are seeing that pattern over and over, then know that it is not random. It is a cycle. And it does not mean that there is something wrong with you. Again, you're not lazy. It's not that you aren't motivated. It's just information that your body is giving you in the form of symptoms, in the form of you crashing. So I want to talk a little bit about something that I came to understand, especially when I was in the middle of really heavy and severe chronic symptoms and not having a lot of my stuff under control, is that your good days can actually be the most harmful or the most dangerous times because your brain thinks, oh, I feel good. I'm fixed. Everything's great. And that's really understandable because when we feel good, we feel like everything is fixed and everything must be good. But feeling good after feeling bad is just this relief that your brain and your body want to run with. It's like, let's make up for lost time. Let's finally get back to that version of me where I was able to do all of the things and keep up with everything. The problem is there is a gap between how you feel and what your body actually has in reserve. So in a healthy body, those two things often are pretty close. So how you feel and the reserve that your body has are often close together. But when your system is already running a little bit on a deficit, you can feel better a little bit better, especially compared to where you were at previously, before your reserves have actually replenished, which means that your brain says go, but your body is still honestly feeling depleted. And this is why I would push myself on these really good days and still end up really being further behind than when I started. The good day for me felt like the green light, like, okay, this is permission for me to catch up. But my body was not actually giving me that permission. It wasn't giving me the green light. It was giving me just this little gap for me to, yes, be intentional and maybe take care of a couple of things, but not push myself to the extreme. And there really is a big difference between those two things. So on your next good day, before you start working through this giant to-do list, if you're like me, ask yourself, what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that I really need to get done today? So not the huge to-do list, but like the core things. I like 3, but maybe you're not at that point in your body where you can even do 3. So even if it's 1, what is the one thing that actually has to happen today? It doesn't have to be the entire list. 1, 2, 3 things, whatever. I wouldn't go over 3, honestly. And then plan to stop when those things are done. And the other key here is plan to stop before you feel like you need to. Because if you're like me, you push yourself, you are so fixated on getting the task done that you're not actually even paying attention to your body. I'm really bad to get in the middle of something and forget to eat or not realize that I needed to drink water. You know what I mean? So often we push ourselves and we don't even realize that, oh my goodness, for the last hour, I've actually been feeling really bad because we're so fixated on getting that task done or those tasks done. So plan to stop whatever you're getting done before you actually feel like your body is telling you that you need to stop. Okay, so another thing on your next good day, stopping before you feel like you need to, of course, not when you're exhausted, not when you feel like you've hit a wall. Stop whenever you feel like you have a little bit left in the tank. This can feel, honestly, it can feel a little bit wrong because everything in us wants to keep going when we feel good. But this is what I have learned from living this cycle for so long. The damage does not happen at the end of your good day. A lot of times it happens the next day or the day after that. And then by the time you actually feel the crash coming, you're already in the middle of it. There's no backtracking. The only way that you really can change the outcome is to make a different decision before you get to that point of crashing. So stopping on purpose when you feel good, when you still feel okay, it is not you quitting. It is not you giving up. It is not you being lazy. It is you being strategic about how can I preserve my energy and not push myself so far that I'm, again, back into the cycle of crashing, of being in a flare for days on end. It is the decision that keeps that good day from coming the thing that takes you out for a whole nother week. So really the goal here is to pace yourself. Can I pace myself so maybe I only get 2 things done today, but I didn't push myself so hard that I'm going to be down for the next week, which means tomorrow I can do maybe 1 or 2 things more. And then the next day I can do 1 or 2 things more. That really is the goal. So picking those top few priorities for your next good day and doing those, then actively choosing to stop, even if you feel like you could keep going. That's the hard part. Goodness, it is so hard. So many of us, we are really high achieving and we want to be getting stuff done. And so it feels so wrong to stop when you still feel okay. But test it out. Try your normal cycle of pushing yourself to no end. See if you notice this pattern of every time I do this, I'm crashing. And then try the other way. What if I only focus on 1 to 3 things and I make sure that I am stopping before I feel like I'm just completely wiped? If you wake up that next day and you're feeling okay, instead of feeling like you're starting to crash, then again, do it again, do 2 more things. And also that gives you that information that this strategy seems to be helping your body. And you can just build from there. So I just want to say again, this push crash cycle, it's not a problem with you. It really is just a physiological pattern that is going on in your body. That good day is it's a sign that things are moving in the right direction and you're stable, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a sign that you are fully recovered. So your brain is reading that feeling of, oh, I feel great, as, oh, everything's fixed. But your body is probably not actually fully recovered yet. So when you push yourself past that margin of what your body is actually able to do, your body responds to that signal, to that stress with a crash. And I know that it feels so counterintuitive to do this, but I want you guys to test it out. So the next time you wake up with that energy, the motivation, before you open the giant to-do list, just write down 2 things and do those, then stop. And notice what the next 48 hours look like. And if you realize that this push crash cycle has been running your schedule for a long time, which is something that happened to me, and again, the goal here is to get our body to that state of recovery where we're not having to kind of handle ourselves with kid gloves, but you're probably not there yet. So if you're noticing, oh my goodness, this push crash cycle has been running my life and I didn't even know it, then I just want to encourage you, start giving yourself that little bit of grace to say, I understand that healing is not going to come by me pushing myself to the extreme. And really, that is what is going on, is we're pushing ourselves to the extreme and then we're paying for it later, all for the sake of productivity. And it doesn't help us in the long run. Okay, friends, I just want to say, I would love to hear from you on this. If you experience or you have realized that you really do live out this push crash cycle, can you come over to the free Facebook community and just tell us about it? And say, do you recognize this pattern in your own life? I really have a feeling that a lot of you are going to say yes. I've spoken to other moms who I know live this and experience it as well. I will have the link for the free Facebook community down in the show notes below. And then I will also see you guys for the next episode on Monday, where we're going to talk about what happens when you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing and you feel like your body still isn't responding the way that you would want it to. All right, friends, that is all for this episode, and I'll see you back then.
Hey friend, I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, would you take a minute to share it with another mom who's struggling with chronic symptoms? And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me to know this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to go tackle those snack requests, and remember that a short walk, even if the kids turn it into a race, still counts as self-care. Keep chasing those little wins, even when it feels messy, you're making progress. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. I'm not a doctor, and this podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any condition. You're the expert on your body. Listen to it and reach out to a trusted provider for support.